The sun beat down on the main gate of Fort Davidson Military Base in southern Arizona. It was a Tuesday afternoon in late September, and the heat shimmered off the asphalt like water. Two young military police officers stood at the checkpoint, checking IDs and waving vehicles through with the kind of bored efficiency that comes from doing the same job 1,000 times. Corporal Jake Henley, 24 years old and fresh from MP training, leaned against the guard booth with his arms crossed. His partner, Specialist Amy Torres, scrolled through her phone, barely looking up as a pickup truck rolled through. Then a dusty blue sedan pulled up to the gate. The woman behind the wheel looked to be in her late 40s. She had short dark hair streaked with gray, tired eyes, and the kind of weathered face that spoke of hard years and little sleep. She wore jeans and a faded green jacket. No uniform. No military bearing that either guard could see. She rolled down her window and said nothing. Just looked at them, waiting. Corporal Henley pushed off the booth and walked over. "Good afternoon, ma'am. ID and base access pass, please." The woman reached into her jacket pocket slowly, carefully. She pulled out a standard driver's license and handed it over. Henley glanced at it. The name read Emma Clara Rost, age 47. Address in Tucson, about 90 miles south. Base access pass? Henley repeated. "I don't have one," she said. Her voice was calm, flat, like she'd expected this. Torres looked up from her phone now, interest flickering across her face. "Ma'am, you can't enter a military installation without authorization," Henley said, his tone shifting from polite to firm. "What's your business here?" Emma looked past him toward the base, toward the buildings in the distance, the rows of barracks, the command center that rose like a concrete fortress against the sky. "I need to speak with Colonel Vance," she said. Henley blinked. Then he laughed. "It wasn't me, not yet. Just surprised." "Colonel Vance? The base commander?" "Yes." "Ma'am, you can't just roll up here and ask to see the base commander. You need an appointment. Clearance. You need to go through official channels." "I don't have time for that." Torres stepped closer now, hand resting casually on her duty belt. "Ma'am, you need to turn your vehicle around. If you have business with someone on base, you can call the main administrative line and—" "I'm not leaving," Emma said. The air changed. Henley's smile faded. "Excuse me? I'm not leaving until I speak with Colonel Vance. It's urgent." Torres exchanged a glance with Henley. This was no longer routine. "Ma'am, step out of the vehicle, please," Torres said. Emma didn't move at first. She stared straight ahead, jaw tight. Then slowly she opened the door and stepped out. She stood about 5'6", thin but not frail. There was something in the way she held herself, something coiled, controlled. Like a spring wound too tight. "Ma'am, I'm going to ask you one more time," Henley said, his voice harder now. "What is your business here?" "That's classified," Emma said. Torres actually laughed at that. "Classified? Lady, you're a civilian showing up at a military gate with no clearance, no appointment, and no ID except a driver's license. You don't get to say something's classified." Emma said nothing. Henley pulled out his radio. "Gate 3 to command. We have a situation here. Unidentified civilian refusing to leave the checkpoint. Requesting supervisor," the radio crackled. "Copy Gate 3, supervisor en route." Emma closed her eyes briefly, like she'd hoped it wouldn't come to this. But she didn't get back in the car. Within 5 minutes, a Humvee rolled up. Out stepped Staff Sergeant Rick Calloway, a thick-necked man in his late 30s with a permanent scowl and a reputation for not tolerating nonsense. "What's the problem?" he barked. Henley gestured toward Emma. "She won't leave, Sergeant. Says she needs to see Colonel Vance, won't explain why. Says it's classified." Calloway looked Emma up and down like she was something he'd scraped off his boot. "Classified," he repeated slowly. Then he laughed. A mean laugh. "Lady, do you have any idea how many crazies we get out here? People claiming they're secret agents, undercover operatives, alien contactees. I'm not crazy," Emma said quietly. "Then prove it. Show me credentials, military ID, CAC card, anything that gives you the right to be here." "I don't have them anymore." "Then you don't belong here." Calloway turned to Henley and Torres. "Detain her. Run her ID. If she resists, arrest her for trespassing on a federal installation." Emma's hands curled into fists, but she didn't move, didn't resist. Torres pulled out a pair of zip-tie cuffs. "Ma'am, put your hands behind your back." For just a moment, Emma's eyes flashed with something dangerous, something that made Torres hesitate, just for a heartbeat. But then Emma turned around and put her hands behind her back. Torres secured the cuffs. "Search the vehicle," Calloway ordered. Henley moved to the sedan and began going through it. Glove box, center console, back seat. He found nothing, no weapons, no documents, no evidence of anything except a woman who'd been living out of her car. Fast food wrappers, a duffel bag with clothes, a sleeping bag, bottled water. "She's homeless," Henley muttered. "Perfect," Calloway said. "Another drifter looking for a handout." He looked at Emma. "Let me guess. You're a veteran, right? Served your country, fell on hard times, and now you think the military owes you something." Emma stared at the ground. "That's what I thought," Calloway said. "Take her to the holding room. Process her ID and fingerprints. If she's got warrants, we'll turn her over to local PD. If not, we kick her loose and flag her in the system so she doesn't come back." They put Emma in the back of the Humvee. As they drove through the gate she couldn't pass on her own, Emma looked out the pay window at the base she once knew so well. Everything had changed, but soon they would learn. Some things hadn't changed at all. The holding room was exactly what Emma expected. Concrete walls, fluorescent lights, a metal table bolted to the floor, a mirror that was obviously one-way glass. They sat her down in a metal chair. Her wrists were still bound with the zip ties. Staff Sergeant Calloway stood in the corner, arms crossed, watching her like she was a problem he couldn't wait to solve and forget. Specialist Torres sat across from her with a clipboard and a laptop. "Full name," Torres said, not looking up. "Emma Claire Rost. Date of birth, April 19th, 1976. Current address." Emma hesitated. "No permanent address." Torres glanced up at that. Something like pity flickered across her face, then disappeared. "Last known address, Tucson. Sunset Motel on Route 10. Torres typed it in. "Occupation, unemployed. Previous occupation?" Emma's jaw tightened. "Military." That got Calloway's attention. He stepped forward. "What branch?" "Army, MOS," he asked. "Military occupational specialty." 11 Bravo, Emma said. "Infantry." Then she paused. "And others? Others?" Calloway's eyebrow went up. "What others?" "That's classified." Calloway slammed his hand on the table. The sound echoed like a gunshot. "Stop saying that. You don't have clearance to classify anything. You're homeless. You're a trespasser. You're nobody." Emma flinched, just slightly. But she didn't look away from him. "When did you serve?" Torres asked, trying to move things along. 1994 to 2014, Emma said. 20 years, Torres wrote it down. 20 years was a full career. "Retirement eligible. Rank at discharge?" Torres asked. Emma hesitated again. "Sergeant first class," Calloway snorted. 20 years and you only made 87? What happened? Disciplinary problems? Couldn't cut it?" Emma said nothing. "Why'd you get out?" he pressed. "Medical discharge." "Let me guess," Calloway said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "PTSD? Bad knee?" "I couldn't handle the stress." Emma's hands trembled. Just a little, but she kept her voice steady. "Something like that." Torres shifted uncomfortably. Even she was starting to feel like Calloway was going too far. But he was a staff sergeant. She was just a specialist. She wasn't going to tell him to back off. "All right," Torres said. "We're going to take your fingerprints and run you through the system. Standard procedure." She pulled out a small biometric scanner. Modern technology. No more ink pads. Just a digital reader that would scan Emma's prints and run them through every database the military had access to. Local warrants. Federal warrants, NCIC, military personnel records, everything. Torres cut the zip ties off Emma's wrists. Right hand first. Fingers flat on the scanner. Emma placed her hand on the glass surface. The scanner glowed blue as it read her prints. One finger. Then the next. Thumb, index, middle ring, pinky, left hand, Torres said. Emma complied. The scanner beeped. Data uploaded. The laptop began processing. Torres turned the screen toward herself and waited. Calloway checked his watch. "This is a waste of time. She's just another burnout looking for attention." But then the laptop screen flickered. Torres frowned. "What?" Calloway said. "It's loading something," Torres said slowly. "Usually the results come back instantly. But this is..." The screen showed a progress bar. Then a message appeared in red text. "Accessing restricted files. Clearance verification required." Torres's eyes went wide. What the hell? Calloway moved around the table to look at the screen. What does that mean? I don't know. I've never seen this before. Another message appeared. Biometric match confirmed. File encrypted. Level 4. Clearance required to proceed. Calloway's face went from confused to angry. Is this some kind of system error? I don't think so, Torres said. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. It's saying her prints match a file, but the file is restricted. I don't have the clearance to open it. Then override it, Calloway snapped. I can't, I'm only level 2 clearance. This is asking for level 4. That's kernel level access. Calloway stared at the screen. Then at Emma she sat quietly, watching, waiting. Who the hell are you? He asked. I told you, Emma said softly. I need to speak with Colonel Vance. You're not speaking to anyone until we figure out what this is. Calloway grabbed his radio. Gate holding room to command. We have a situation. Need a senior officer down here immediately. The radio crackled. Copy. What's the nature of the situation? Calloway hesitated. We've got a civilian whose fingerprints are flagged in a restricted file. Level 4 clearance required. There was a long pause. Then a different voice came over the radio. Older. Authoritative. This is Major Drummond. Sit tight. I'm on my way. Calloway clipped the radio back onto his belt. He looked at Emma like she'd just become a very different kind of problem. Torres was still staring at the screen. Sarge, there's something else. What? There's a note attached to the file. I can see it even though I can't open the main document. What does it say? Torres read it aloud, her voice uncertain. Subject is classified under Joint Special Operations Command protocols. Any contact or identification must be reported immediately to JSOC headquarters and the Office of the Secretary of Defense. The room went silent. JSOC, Joint Special Operations Command. That was the umbrella over Delta Force SEAL Team 6, and other units so secretive most soldiers never even heard their real names. Calloway's face had gone pale. Corporal Henley, who'd been standing by the door, spoke up for the first time. Wait, is she saying she was Special Operations? She's not saying anything, Calloway muttered. But his voice had lost its edge. The mockery was gone. He looked at Emma again. Really looked at her. The tired eyes. The scars on her hands. The way she sat, perfectly still, perfectly controlled, like someone trained to withstand interrogation. What were you? He asked quietly. Really? Emma met his gaze. I was a soldier. That's all you need to know. That's not all, Torres said, her voice shaking slightly. Sarge, there's a photo attached to the file. It's locked, but I can see the thumbnail. She turned the laptop screen. The image was small, blurry, but it showed a woman in full combat gear, face painted, holding a rifle, younger, harder, but unmistakably Emma. And behind her, partially visible, was a patch on her shoulder. Calloway leaned in, squinted. The patch showed a skull with wings. No unit designation. No name, just the symbol. Jesus Christ, Henley whispered. She's Black Ops. The door burst open. Major Drummond strode in. He was a tall man, mid-50s, with silver hair and the kind of presence that made junior soldiers stand straighter without thinking about it. Everyone out except the detainee, he ordered. Calloway. Torres and Henley filed out quickly. Drummond closed the door behind them. Then he turned to Emma. For a long moment he just looked at her. Ma'am, he said slowly, and there was no mockery in his voice, only caution. I need you to tell me very clearly. Who are you and why are you here? Emma's eyes were wet now. Not crying, but close. My name is Emma Rost, she said. And 8 years ago I was part of a mission that never happened. A mission that killed 6 people who were never supposed to exist. She took a shaky breath. And now someone is killing us, one by one. The survivors. Drummond's face went rigid. Colonel Vance was the commanding officer who sent us in, Emma continued. And if I don't warn him, he's going to be next. Major Drummond didn't move for 3 full seconds. Then he pulled out his phone and stepped to the corner of the room. Emma couldn't hear what he said. His voice was low, urgent. But she saw his face, saw the way his expression changed from skeptical to serious to something close to alarm. He ended the call and turned back to her. Colonel Vance is in a briefing. He'll be here in 10 minutes. Drummond pulled out the chair across from Emma and sat down. Until then, you're going to tell me everything. Starting with what mission you're talking about. Emma shook her head. I can't. Not to you. Ma'am, I'm a major in the United States Army. I have top secret clearance. It's not enough, Emma said quietly. The mission was compartmentalized. Need to know only. And you don't need to know. Drummond's jaw worked. He wasn't used to being told no. 3 days ago, a retired master sergeant named David Kowalski was found dead in his apartment in North Carolina. Apparent suicide. Single gunshot to the head. Emma's breath caught. Drummond watched her reaction. You knew him? Yes. 2 weeks before that, a woman named Jennifer Hale died in a car accident outside Seattle. Vehicle went off a mountain road. No witnesses. Emma closed her eyes. She went by Jen. She was our medic. And a month before that, Drummond continued, a man named Marcus Lee was killed in what police are calling a home invasion gone wrong in Atlanta. Shot twice in the chest. Nothing was stolen. Emma's hands trembled. She gripped the edge of the table. That's 3, Drummond said. You said 6 died on the mission. How many survivors were there? 9, Emma whispered. Including me. And now 3 more are dead. Which means 5 of us are left, Emma said. She looked up at him. And whoever is doing this, they're not just good. They're professional. They know how to make it look like accidents, suicides, random violence. But it's not random. How do you know? Emma reached into her jacket pocket slowly. Drummond's hand moved toward his sidearm, but Emma just pulled out a folded piece of paper. She slid it across the table. Drummond unfolded it. It was a photograph, printed on regular paper, but the image was clear enough. It showed 9 soldiers in desert camouflage. Full gear, faces obscured by night vision goggles and scarves, standing in front of a helicopter in the dark. No unit markings. No identifying features except a date stamped in the corner. 03/15/2014. That was taken 12 hours before we went in, Emma said. I'm 3rd from the left. Drummond studied the photo. Where was this? I can't tell you that. What was the mission? I can't tell you that either. Then what can you tell me? Emma's voice was flat, distant, like she was reading from a script she'd memorized long ago. The mission was authorized at the highest levels. Presidential finding. We were sent to retrieve a high-value asset from hostile territory. The intelligence was bad. We walked into an ambush. 6 of my team died in the first 2 minutes. The rest of us fought our way out, she paused. Swallowed hard. When we got back, we were told the mission never happened. The asset never existed. The people we lost were listed as training accidents or non-combat deaths. We were split up, reassigned, and told never to speak about it again. Most of us were pushed out within a year. Medical discharges, administrative separations. They erased us. Drummond's face was grim. And Colonel Vance? He was a lieutenant colonel then. He was our liaison. He gave us the mission brief. He told us the intel was solid. Emma's voice hardened. He sent us in. You blame him. I did, Emma said. For a long time. But I know how it works. He was following orders too. He didn't have the full picture any more than we did. So why come to him now? Because 2 days ago I got this. She reached into her other pocket and pulled out a cell phone. Old model. Cheap burner phone. She unlocked it and showed Drummond a text message. It was simple. No words. Just a photograph. The same photograph Emma had just shown him. The 9 soldiers. But this version had been edited. 6 faces were crossed out in red. David Kowalski, Jennifer Hale, Marcus Lee, and the 3 who died on the mission. Whoever sent this knows who we are, Emma said. They know about the mission, and they're working their way through the list. Drummond stared at the phone. Did you try to trace it? It's a spoofed number. Dead end. Have you contacted the other survivors? I tried. 2 of them have gone dark. Changed their numbers, moved, I can't find them. Emma's voice cracked slightly. The other one? His name was Thomas Grant. I called him yesterday. Warned him. He told me I was paranoid. That it was just bad luck. Where is he now? I don't know. He hung up on me. Won't answer my calls. Drummond stood up and pulled out his phone again. He made another call. This time Emma could hear some of it. Yes, sir. I need you to run a name for me. Thomas Grant, former Army, likely Special Operations. I need current location and status. A pause. Yes, sir. It's urgent. He waited. Emma watched him. Then Drummond's face went white. When? he asked quietly. How? Another pause. Understood. Thank you, sir. He ended the call and looked at Emma. Thomas Grant was found dead this morning in a hotel room in Virginia. Apparent drug overdose. Emma's head dropped. Her shoulders shook. That makes 4, she whispered. The door opened. A man in his late 50s stepped in. He wore the uniform of a full colonel. Silver eagle on his collar, ribbons across his chest. Gray hair cut military short. Colonel James Vance. He stopped when he saw Emma. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then recognition flickered across Vance's face. Shock. Disbelief. Rost, he said quietly. Emma stood up. Old habits. You stand when a senior officer enters the room. Sir, she said. Vance looked at Drummond. Give us the room. Sir, I don't think... Now, Major. Drummond hesitated, then left. The door clicked shut behind him. Vance and Emma stood 5 feet apart. I thought you were dead, Vance said finally. I might as well be. The last I heard, you were in a VA hospital. Psychiatric hold. They said you'd had a complete breakdown. I did, Emma said. After they told me the mission never happened. After they told me the people I watched die never existed. After they made me sign papers saying I'd never speak about it or they'd charge me with treason. Her voice was rising now. Yeah, Colonel. I broke. Vance's face was pained. Emma, I'm sorry. I'm so damn sorry. I didn't know the intel was compromised. I didn't know it was a setup. A setup? Emma's eyes widened. You think we were set up? I don't know, maybe. The whole thing was buried so deep so fast. I tried to ask questions. I tried to find out what happened. They transferred me within a month. Promoted me and moved me here. He gestured around. Put me in a corner where I couldn't make waves. Emma stared at him. You tried to investigate? Of course I did. I lost 6 soldiers that night. Good people. I wanted answers. Did you get any? Vance shook his head. No, but I got a visit from 2 men in suits who told me very clearly that if I kept asking questions, I'd end my career in Leavenworth. Emma sank back into the chair. Vance sat across from her. Why are you here, Emma? Why now? She told him everything. The deaths. The photograph. The message. When she finished, Vance was silent for a long time. You think I'm on the list, he said finally. I think we all are. Everyone connected to that mission. Then why haven't they come for you yet? Emma smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. Because I'm already a ghost, sir. No address, no job. No records except a medical discharge for psychological issues. I'm nobody harmless, but you? She gestured at his uniform. You're a base commander. You're visible. You matter. Vance rubbed his face. What do you want me to do? I want you to help me find out who's doing this. And I want you to help me stop them. Emma, I don't have the authority. This is beyond... You have more authority than I do, she said. I'm nothing. But you can make calls. Access files. You can protect the others. What others? The 2 survivors I can't find. We have to warn them. We have to. The lights went out. The room plunged into darkness, then emergency lights kicked in, dim, red. An alarm began to wail. Vance was on his feet instantly. What the hell? The door burst open. Drummond was there, breathing hard. Sir, we have a breach. Someone cut the power to the main gate and the perimeter fence. Security cameras are down. We're on backup systems only. Vance's eyes met Emma's. She was already moving. They're here, she said. Emma moved on instinct. 20 years of training didn't disappear just because you put on civilian clothes. Get down, she shouted. Vance dropped behind the table. Drummond reached for his sidearm, but Emma was already at the door, looking out into the hallway. Red emergency lights cast everything in an eerie glow. Soldiers were running, confused, trying to figure out what was happening. Drummond, Emma snapped. How many entrances to this building? He blinked at her. This homeless woman was suddenly giving orders like a sergeant major. 3, he said. Front, back, and side. Lock them down now. No one in or out without visual confirmation of identity. Ma'am, you don't have the authority to do it. Vance barked. Listen to her. Drummond grabbed his radio. All units code black. Lockdown Building 7. No entry without authorization from command. Emma turned to Vance. Do you have a weapon? In my office. 2 floors up. We need to get there. Now. They moved into the hallway. Emma led the way. Vance and Drummond followed. Other soldiers stared as they passed. The homeless woman who'd been arrested an hour ago was now moving through the building like she owned it. Staff Sergeant Calloway appeared from a side corridor. "Sir, what's going on?" "Possible hostile on base," Vance said. "Stay alert. Hostile?" How did someone get past the window at the end of the hallway exploded? Glass showered inward. Soldiers hit the deck, but no gunshot. No sound except the breaking glass. Emma understood immediately. Breaching charge, small directional, they're making entry points. She grabbed Calloway by his vest. "You, get every available soldier to the armory. Full combat load. Treat this as an active shooter situation." Calloway looked at Vance. Vance nodded. Calloway ran. Another window shattered. This one closer. "They're hurting us," Emma said. "Cutting off exits. Whoever this is, they're not random. They're tactical." "How many?" Drummond asked. "At least 2, maybe more." They reached the stairwell. Emma held up a fist. Military hand signal for stop. She opened the stairwell door slowly. Looked up, looked down, clear. "Move," she said. They climbed. Emma first. Vance in the middle. Drummond bringing up the rear with his sidearm drawn. 2 flights up. They emerged into another hallway. Vance's office was at the end. The door was still open. Too easy, Emma thought. But they didn't have a choice. They moved quickly. Reached the office. Vance went straight to his desk and unlocked a drawer. He pulled out a Beretta M9, checked the magazine. Chambered around. He pulled out a second pistol and offered it to Emma. She took it. The weight felt familiar. "Right. I haven't held one of these in 8 years," she said quietly. "It's like riding a bike," Vance said. Emma checked the weapon with practiced efficiency. "Mag out, check the rounds. Mag in, press check. Safety off." Drummond watched her with new eyes. This wasn't a homeless veteran begging for help, this was a soldier. "Sir," Drummond said, "we should get you to the bunker. The secure room in the command center." "Agreed," Vance said. He looked at Emma. "You're coming with us." They moved back into the hallway, and a man was standing there. He was dressed in black. Tactical gear. Balaclava covering his face. He held a suppressed pistol. He raised it toward Vance. Emma was faster. She fired twice. Center mass. The man staggered back, but he didn't fall. Body armor. He returned fire. The suppressed weapon made a sound like a stapler. Pfft, pfft, pfft. Drummond went down with a scream. Hit in the leg. Emma and Vance dove back into the office. Rounds punched through the door frame. "Drummond!" Vance shouted. The major was dragging himself backward, leaving a trail of blood. The man in black walked toward him calmly. Raised his pistol. Emma leaned out and fired. Aimed higher this time. One round caught the man in the throat just above his vest. He dropped. Emma ran out, grabbed Drummond by his vest, and hauled him back into the office. Vance slammed the door and locked it. Drummond was gasping. "My leg. Christ." Emma ripped open his pant leg. The round had gone through the meat of his thigh. Lot of blood, but no arterial spray. She yanked off her jacket and pressed it against the wound. "Hold this. Keep pressure." Drummond nodded, teeth gritted. Vance was on his desk phone. "Command, this is Vance. We have an active shooter in Building 7. 1 hostile down. Officer wounded. We need QRF and medical, now." Emma moved to the window. Looked out. In the courtyard below, she saw movement. 2 more figures in black, moving toward the building. "We've got more incoming," she said. Vance hung up the phone. "QRF is 3 minutes out." "We might not have 3 minutes." Emma looked around the office. Standard layout. Desk, filing cabinets, bookshelf, and a vent in the ceiling. She dragged a chair over and climbed up. Pushed the vent cover aside. "What are you doing?" Vance asked. "Giving us an advantage." She looked down at him. "They're coming for you. Not me. Not Drummond, you. Which means they want something or they're sending a message." "What message?" "That everyone connected to that mission dies. No loose ends." Emma pulled herself up into the vent. It was tight, but she fit. "Emma, wait. Stay here. Keep the door locked. When QRF arrives, you'll be safe." She started crawling. Then she paused and looked back through the opening. "Sir, I'm sorry I couldn't save them. The ones on the mission. The ones who died after." Vance's face was grim. "You're saving me." "That's enough." Emma disappeared into the darkness of the vent. She crawled through the narrow space. The metal creaked under her weight. She controlled her breathing, stayed calm. Through the slats of other vents she could see into hallways, offices, and then she saw them, two men in black, moving together, precise, professional. They were headed toward Vance's office. Emma kept crawling. Got ahead of them, found a vent that opened into a supply closet. She kicked it open and dropped down, landed in a crouch, opened the closet door slowly. The two men were 20 feet away. Backs to her, Emma stepped out, raised her pistol. Federal officer. Drop your weapons. It was a bluff. She wasn't a federal officer. Hadn't been anything official in years, but her voice carried command, authority. The two men spun around. Emma fired. One went down. Headshot. The other dove behind a corner and returned. Fire. Rounds sparked off the wall behind Emma. She ran the opposite direction. Drew him away from Vance's office. The man pursued. Emma turned a corner, then stopped and waited. The man came around fast, weapon up. Emma grabbed his gun hand and twisted. The suppressed pistol clattered to the floor. She drove her knee into his stomach, then slammed his head against the wall. He crumpled. Emma stood over him, breathing hard. Her hands were shaking now. Adrenaline crashed. She pulled off his balaclava. Young face. Maybe 30. No identification. No patches, nothing. Professional contractor. Hired killer. Emma zip-tied his hands with a strap from his own gear. Then she picked up his weapon and cleared it. Footsteps running. Multiple soldiers. The quick reaction force had arrived. Don't move, someone shouted. Emma slowly raised her hands. The pistol dangled from one finger, pointed away. Friendly, she called out. I'm friendly. 6 soldiers in full combat gear rounded the corner. Rifles raised. They saw Emma. Saw the unconscious man on the floor. Saw the other bodies down the hall. A captain stepped forward. Identify yourself. Before Emma could answer, Colonel Vance appeared behind them. Stand down, Vance ordered. She's with me. The soldiers lowered their rifles but didn't relax. Vance walked up to Emma. You okay? I've been better. That's all of them? I think so. But we need to sweep the building, the captain spoke up. Sir, who is this woman? Vance looked at Emma for a long moment. Then he turned to his soldiers. This woman is a decorated combat veteran who just saved my life and secured this building against a coordinated attack. Her name is Sergeant First Class Emma Rost, and you will treat her with the respect she deserves. The captain blinked. Yes, sir. 4 days later, Emma sat in a conference room in the Pentagon. She'd never expected to be here. Never wanted to be here again. But here she was. Across the table sat a 2-star general, a woman from the CIA, and a man in a suit who hadn't introduced himself, but had the look of someone very powerful. The contractors were hired through a shell company, the CIA woman said. We've traced it back to a private military firm with connections to several foreign governments. But the money came from a domestic account. Whose? Emma asked. The man in the suit slid a folder across the table. Emma opened it. Inside was a photograph of a man in his 60s. Silver hair, expensive suit. His name is Richard Brennan, the man said. He was the deputy director of operations at CIA in 2014. He's the one who authorized your mission. Emma's blood went cold. Why would he want us dead? Because the asset you were sent to retrieve wasn't what you were told. It was evidence. Documents proving that Brennan had been selling classified information to foreign governments for years. Your mission was never about extraction. It was about elimination. You were sent in to destroy the evidence. But something went wrong. We were ambushed, Emma said. The intel was bad. No, the general said. The intel was perfect. You were supposed to die there, all of you. No survivors, no witnesses, but some of you made it out. Emma's hands clenched into fists. He sent us to die. And when that didn't work, he spent the next 8 years cleaning up loose ends. He's been arrested, the man in the suit said. This morning. He'll spend the rest of his life in prison. That's not enough, Emma said quietly. I know, the general said. But it's what we have. The CIA woman leaned forward. Ms. Rost, we'd like to offer you a position. Consultant. Helping us root out other compromised operations. Your experience, your skills. No, Emma said. I'm done. What will you do? The general asked. Emma stood up. I'm going to visit some graves. Say goodbye properly, and then I'm going to try to figure out how to live again. She walked toward the door. Sergeant Rost. The general called. Emma turned. Thank you for your service. The real thanks, not the empty words. You were betrayed by the people who should have protected you, and you still fought. You still saved lives. That means something. Emma's eyes were wet, but she didn't let the tears fall. It has to, she said. Or what was it all for? 6 months later, Emma stood at the gate of Fort Davidson again. But this time she wasn't in a beat-up sedan. She was on foot, and this time she had an ID. The young MP, a different one than before, scanned her card and handed it back. Welcome back, ma'am, he said. Emma walked through the gate. She'd been offered veteran services, counseling, housing assistance, a job helping train new recruits. She'd accepted it all. The nightmares hadn't stopped. The guilt hadn't disappeared, but she was trying. And for the first time in 8 years, she wasn't alone. Colonel Vance had made sure of that. He'd pulled strings, made calls, got her the help she needed. You saved my life, he'd told her. Let me help save yours. As Emma walked across the base, a few soldiers nodded to her. They'd heard the story, the woman who stopped the attack. The ghost operator who came back. She didn't feel like a hero, but she felt like a soldier again. And maybe that was enough. Her phone buzzed. A text from Vance.Coffee, my office. We need to talk about your first class, Emma smiled. A real smile, she typed back. On my way, sir. And for the first time in a very long time, Emma Rost walked forward instead of looking back.